Sebastian Fundora is a freak of nature. He just got a 4th round stoppage against Cordell Booker to defend his unified super welterweight titles. Being 6'6" and fighting at 154 pounds is just ridiculous. I don't blame him for fighting at that weight, nor do I call him a weight bully because he genuinely looks good and healthy every time he makes weight. He even weighed in under the limit this time. If we take a look back at his career, he won the interim WBC title against Erickson Lubin in 2022 and defended it against Carlos Ocampo. But then he got knocked out against Brian Mendoza. The problem with that fight was he was fighting inside. Being that tall in a weight division where all your opponents are at least half a foot shorter than you is not a smart idea. You have to use your reach and fight on the outside. He did that against Tim Tszyu, where he took his WBO title and won the vacant WBC title. If Tim didn't have that massive cut on the top of his head, the fight probably would have went another way. But what happens happens. He fought similar last night against Booker, but he did get caught once or twice with a hook. Every time he tries to fight inside, I kind of cringe because I feel like any moment now we could see a massive hook by his opponent just landing him and just really folding a guy that tall and lanky. We already saw it happen before against Mendoza. However, but just the way he's able to move though and have that power at that length, and just be healthy at that division, not be drained, is just very, very impressive. Before we continue, I want to mention my sponsor, that's Title Boxing. You all heard of it. They have everything you need for your boxing needs. Once I got into boxing, I went with Title. I have their shoes, I have their gloves, I have their headgear, I have their groin protector, I have their amateur boxing competition set. Alright, what I wore for my first fight. They have everything you need for boxing. I'm going to have their link in the description. Make sure to check it out. If you need anything, heavy bags, okay, mitts, anything you need for boxing, Title Boxing has it. I'm very appreciative to pick up a sponsor. Title is very reliable, of course very popular in the sport of boxing. Make sure to check them out. So the 154-pound division is pretty stacked. Of course you have Fundora holding 2 of the belts. Then you have Terrence Crawford at the WBA title, but he's going to be moving up now to 168, so that's going to leave a vacant WBA title, leaving Xander Zayas, which I think Fundora could definitely beat him, but a very talented young fighter Zayas is. And then you have the IBF title, which would probably be the most dangerous for Sebastian Fundora. That's Bakram Murtazaliev, okay, if I pronounce that right. He's dangerous. The way he beat up on Tim Tszyu before, all right, that was pretty bad, right? I mean, he's a dangerous, brutal fighter. He could really be a problem for Sebastian Fundora. We look at the champions in recess and all that other stuff. Jermell Charlo, he's the WBA champion in recess. Yoenis Tellez is the WBA junior middleweight interim champion, and then Virgil Ortiz as well. Virgil Ortiz is the WBC junior middleweight interim champion. Let me tell you though, Virgil Ortiz could definitely have the options to beat Sebastian Fundora. Definitely has the abilities, I should say, to beat Sebastian Fundora. So Fundora is not unbeatable. Even though he's a freak of nature, we saw him get knocked out before. We saw the weakness in his game. If a guy like Ortiz or Bakram could walk him down, I mean, it's going to be a problem for Fundora. If they could get inside and land those overhand rights and hooks right on the chin, Fundora is going to collapse. Alrighty, I thought we'd see that with Tszyu, but Tszyu's vision was blurry, and then he was getting jabbed up all night. That's obviously a big, pro for Sebastian Fundora. But a guy like Ortiz, a brutal guy, is going to walk you down. Same way with Bakram, walk you down. It's going to be a problem. We also wanted to see Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford. That was actually supposed to be the fight that happened last night. Didn't work out. All right, we're probably never going to see Errol Spence again. What are we going to do? I mean, I don't know if Errol Spence, if he's going to be ducking that fight, I don't think we're ever going to see Errol Spence step in the ring. And at this point, too, I mean, all this inactivity, Fundora would probably beat him. I don't like the inactivity that Fundora was having as well. I feel like PBC could be handling his career a bit better, right? Unified champion, fought over a year ago and only had one fight since then, which was yesterday. I'd like to see him get another fight definitely by this year. Definitely needs to stay active. Being 27 years old, young, just in his prime, maybe not even there yet, right? You got to keep him active. How far could Fundora go, though? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what's next for Fundora. He's probably going to defend once or twice. I'd like to see a Tszyu rematch. I'd definitely like to see a Tszyu rematch. Try to go for this second belt, though. Well, third belt, I guess it would be, with Bakram. All right? Fight Zayas for the interim WBA title. Try to go 3 belts. Maybe go undisputed. Go for it. But I'd like to see that rematch with Tszyu. But Tszyu needs to win, of course. He's fighting Joey Spencer. Going to be a really tough fight. But Tszyu, if he really wants to show that he can be champion again, he should really go for a stoppage there, or at least a 9-3 decision victory. Tszyu really needs to prove to us that he could be champion. Obviously, he needs to prove to the belts, the sanctioned belts, the PBC. He needs to really prove that he could be it. I'd like to see that rematch because I think Tszyu, had he not had that cut, I think Tszyu would have won. And ever since that cut, he's not been the same. As we saw his beatdown against Bakram. But, he really needs to put on a statement against Joey Spencer if he ever wants another shot again. If he really could prove to us that he could be champion again. But that's Sebastian Fundora. What a freak of nature. 6'6". I mean, I'm 6'2", and I walk around 185. I can't even imagine going down to 154. I can't even imagine going down to like 170. That's so unhealthy. I mean, I'm pretty skinny the way it is. I weightlift a lot, so I have more muscle, a bit more fat as well because I eat, because I'm weightlifting a lot. But I don't know, man. Going down that much weight, 154, 6'6". We look at Tommy Hearns, but Tommy Hearns wasn't 6'6". Tommy Hearns went down to 147, but Tommy Hearns was about the same height as me, with 6'1", 6'2", which is very impressive. Fundora, I mean, I don't know. He's just a freak of nature, but he's getting it done. He looks healthy doing it. So, hey, keep going. Definitely a cool thing to see in the sport of boxing. But let's see how far he goes. Let's see, when he fights a guy like Bachram. Let's see how he does when he fights a guy like Virgil Ortiz. A healthy Zoo with no blood in his eyes. Let me know down in the comments what you want to see next for Fundora. How far could he go? I'm out, guys. Peace.